What's going on everyone, Manny here, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the climbing gym. Today I want to show you a very hard and very interesting boulder problem. It's got a lot of tiny little tricks and details, a lot of technical finesses, and that's why I decided to make an analytic bouldering episode about it. It goes through the big blue overhang and ends at this kind of black shard top hold up there. So let's take a look at the holds. We start on this kind of tiny little screw on, which is more or less cosmetic because as you can see we've got all the boxes included apart from those which are mounted around the left corner. And that means we're gonna climb mainly on boxes in this problem, as you will see. And this is set by the Fichtenmeister himself, graded 8A+, and therefore the hardest boulder in the gym. So let's take a look at how it goes. We've got some footholds for starting down there, one to the right, one to the left, and then we got also one more foothold here. And basically the first move is a nice crossover to this tiny little screw-on crimp here. From there we go to the left on the first box, and these two boxes, they are still not mounted around the left corner as you can see, so they are included. And then we've got directly under the roof, below the roof, these two white boxes here with this tiny little black screw on for the thumb. And we've got two more interesting looking pyramid-like volumes here, which are included as well, and then this big fat slopey volume up there with this tiny little screw on, which is going to be very crucial actually. And then we've got these two green volumes here and then the black shard already. So as you can see, lots of volumes, lots of compression, probably a lot of very burly moves. As always, here you've got the overview of the problem with all the included holds so that you can get an impression about the distances and maybe try to find some solutions yourself, although I'm gonna tell you this one is pretty complex and probably pretty hard to read. I'm trying this boulder for a couple of sessions already, and the first thing I always do is, as with any hard problems that I try, I simply grab the holds from the ground, with my feet on the ground, so that my fingers, my hands can get used to these very strange holds here, because as you can see they are very open, very compression style, and if you start kind of cold into these moves, then there is quite some chance that you're gonna injure yourself. You can also get already an impression about the order, about the gripping order that we have to follow here so that we don't get stuck, and this is actually very important as we're gonna see. So now I want to give you a little bit of an overview of the thought process that I had when I first tried this problem. And the first thing you do, as I said already, you've got here this crossover to this screw on and the move to the boxes on the edge, and this is actually quite hard already. And then we've got this really big move to the right, which is all about compression really, as you can see. Due to the compression like orientation of the holds, we can actually stick it, and that's already the first interesting and very important thing about this boulder. It's hold directionality, and I made a technique episode about it, you can check it out. So as you can see, I'm grabbing this hold here in a compression like style and directly try to match it on the left side, but of course that doesn't work because we get so much swing from this left hold into this move. We need some kind of compensation, some kind of anti-force, and that's why, as you can see in my next attempt, I realized that I have to place a toe hook here with my left foot pretty much exactly at the spot where my left hand was before. And then the next interesting thing happens when you try to reach over to this first pyramid-like box there. You're gonna lose your whole body basically again, because you again don't have a strong enough anti-force to lock yourself into this position. And that's why we've got here a really interesting element of this boulder. You actually have to back grip to the left hold with the right hand in order to really kind of stem yourself in an undercling like fashion into this left white box. And only then you get enough stability to reach over with your left hand again to the next pyramid. So as you can see here, we've got the back gripping move. matching this hold, and then going from an undercling like fashion to the next pyramid. And here it's all about body strength. All of a sudden you kind of really have to press your body in between these undercling pyramid boxes and this big orange box, which you can kind of step, which is basically the only option for you to step. And now it's getting really interesting again, because now we have to reach over this big belly to this kind of little screw on the next big volume. And this is of course out of reach when you still step on the orange big volume down below, which means that you have to actually step this white box which is under the roof. And the interesting thing is that when you step this structure with both feet frontally, kind of, then you get a really strong force into that second pyramid, and matching it will be almost impossible. That's why there is a super nice little detail and trick here for the right foot. As you can see here, we're stepping with the left foot, but with the right foot we're gonna make a heel hook actually around the corner on the actual surface of the hole where we had our hand before, and this is just gonna give us enough friction so that we can actually match this pyramid and already get into the next move again, which is this really big slap around the corner, around the belly, onto this little screw on of the big volume. So you can see this again from another perspective. That's how it goes. Foot switch, and then the next very nice technical element of this boulder. We step the big green volume to the left and then kind of make a knee bar in between these two volumes. And this knee bar is actually pretty bad. It's not like you can do a no hand rest from it. And here we've got also the basics of knee barring actually, because as you can see the distance between these two surfaces is very, very tiny actually. And at the beginning I thought, okay, that's impossible, I never can get my leg into this. By manipulating the angle at which you push your leg in between two kind of knee bar surfaces, you can actually influence the ideal distance between those surfaces, if you know what I mean. This way you can stay versatile. You can knee bar small distances as well as bigger distances. Of course you cannot knee bar distances which are bigger than your lower leg, if you know what I'm saying. But if the distances are very small, like it is the case here, you have to go at a very sharp angle with your leg, and then you can still knee bar it. And then you gotta make some space with your right hand, as you can see, make some space for the right foot, which actually has to get onto this little pebble which is around the belly of the big volume. And this actually demands a lot of flexibility because you don't get a lot of support from your hands. As you can see, these slopers are really bad. The pinch with the left is also kind of bad. And you have to be really careful because this heel hook has to be super precise. It has to sit exactly on this pebble here. And the next thing that happens is you gotta work around with this green volume here to get yourself into a Gaston-like position. And then you have to push yourself up to the top hold in a lock-off fashion. And this is actually the hardest move of the whole problem. And that's kind of a problem itself, because as you can imagine, this boulder is very complex. It takes a lot of time to actually even get there, you know. You make a lot of moves, a lot of tiny technical details, and you don't really make a lot of climbing meters. So you get there really tired, and then you have to execute this crazy lock-off to this little shard up there. And although it seems quite unimportant, I want to draw your attention to the left foot here actually. Look at how it's stepping this kind of pyramid volume, and at first I thought this is the ideal way to go there. And that's just another example how tiny little details can make a huge difference, because as I found out later, it's much better to actually not step anything when doing this move. As you can see here, not stepping this little pyramid allows me to almost sit myself on my right heel hook, and that's exactly what makes a difference. That's exactly what makes the move possible for me actually. Once I got this move done, which took me 1 or 2 sessions on its own actually, I knew, okay, the boulder is possible, let's make some attempts. And as you can see, I'm brushing up these kind of slopey, slippery volumes here, which is quite important as well, that you do it in front of every go. And yeah, then I made some attempts. Let's see how it goes. The first attempt of this session went quite nice as far as I remember. As you can see, we are starting with the crossover into this kind of screw on edge, then big move to the left onto the first volume, then big, even bigger move to the right, big compression, left toe hook to keep up the tension, and then matching this in an undercling style, reaching over to the first pyramid volume, matching it, super mega body strength, body tension, and then stepping onto the first volume, right heel hook, matching the second pyramid and slapping the pebble around the corner. Getting the knee bar in. The knee bar had a nice fit on this one, which enabled me to kind of shake my hands off a little bit, reaching over to the volume on the left and pinching those volumes below, and then getting ready to set my heel hook up there. And if you pay attention to my left foot here, you can see how I actually intentionally stop stepping this pyramid volume down there to get ready for the last move. Just to get my hand into a Gaston-like shape, I step it again and then start pushing, but it just wasn't enough. I didn't have enough strength left. So yeah, second try went just as well as the first one, cruising through to the last move, and then again placing my heel hook very carefully, very accurate, getting my hand into a Gaston-like fashion there, preparing for the last move, and then yet again, as we can see, I think this time my heel hook slipped off actually. Tuck, that was it, yeah, my right heel hook slipped off. And then in the third attempt it finally clicked. I could climb this boulder, which made me quite happy because I think that's the hardest color boulder at least that I did so far in this gym. So let's check it out. Alright my friends, I hope you've got something from this little analytic bouldering episode. Drop some likes and comments if you did, and as you can see, climbing with volumes comes a little bit at a cost. Sometimes you lose a bit of skin on the forearm actually by doing so, but it was definitely worth it in my opinion. Anyway, I hope I'll see you guys soon in the next one. Bye!